John from Icon UK here, coming to you from the rehearsal/drum studio at the back of Icon. I thought I'd do some videos on an important subject, which is that of counting. Why to do it, how to do it. Obviously you can see that I'm a drummist myself, but don't let that put you off. If you play a different instrument, you'll have some find some benefit from it too. I'm sure you'll be able to take something from it. So the first thing really is why should you count? A lot of the time you can rely on your playing while you're playing, so you're relying mostly on time by motion as the way of keeping time, and that's great, you know, that you should definitely do that. When you're actually playing something, that is the key sort of device that's keeping you in time. However, when you're not playing, or you're required to play infrequently, or maybe catch some stabs or something like that with the band, you have no means of keeping time anymore. So that's one big reason for counting, is to be able to keep time when you're not playing. And as a beginner, I think that's sometimes completely overlooked and not always kind of spelled out for people, I guess. So the second big reason for counting is because it helps you to contextualize rhythm. So just like any graph needs a scale to make sense, music needs some kind of way of dividing time. And counting is the way that we do that. And whether you write that down, or whether it's reading actual notation, or whether it's just, excuse me, whether it's just in theory and just given as a means to communicate, that's, you know, another key reason why you should count. So I think a lot of the time, especially I've seen with my pupils, what they try and almost add counting as an afterthought, or, oh, I can do it but I can't count as well as do it, or you know, something like that. I can't do the counting, or I can count that bit. And what I find is a lot of the time pupils try to count with what they're playing as opposed to play with what they're counting, and they're two opposite ways of doing it. And a nice little analogy I like to use sometimes is, it's kind of the equivalent of if you're building something, say out of wood, you're trying to build a table or something, and you need to know that all the parts that you cut are the right size. So what you would do is you would measure with a tape measure first, you would put your marks on the wood, and then you would cut the wood. You wouldn't guess what the wood should be like, how long the bits of wood should be, cut them, and then try and measure them afterwards, right? So that's kind of a nice analogy of how people sort of approach it, and how you can kind of approach it from two angles. You know, you really need to make sure the measuring stick is there first, which is your counting, and then you put your notes over the top of that count, and therefore your rhythm should be correct, provided you're playing the notes on the right divisions. So that's just a little video on the concept of counting and why you should do it and why it's important. So hopefully that helps. There'll be some more videos to follow this up coming to you soon.